Welcome to another trip down the Bourbon Road with your hosts, Jim and Mike. So grab a glass of your favorite bourbon and kick back.
Well, you know who likes to give back to their community is one of our sponsors, Jim. Chris Cruz from Cruz Customs Flags. He does custom flags out of bourbon barrels. Not only does he do that, but he's also using veterans to build those flags with. I've got one right behind me, Jim. I know you got one on your bar. Beautifully handcrafted, repurposing a bourbon barrel, not throwing it away, not making it into smoking chips, making a piece of Americana, right?
It's something that'll last probably quite a few years longer than a bourbon barrel would, right?
Not only that, but he's using veterans to build those pieces of art with. You know, you got to love that. But he's also giving back to his community at all times, helping veterans out like ourselves. He is really in tune to that. Go check his site out, cruzcustomsflags.com. You can buy his flags on there, key holders. Heck, Jim's got some these neat little cups that are charred inside, made out of oak, that you can put a cocktail in.
They call those the whiskey grail, don't they?
Yeah, that is, it kind of reminds you, when you think of a grail, but truly a whiskey grail right there. Go check those out at Cruz Customs Flags. Purchase from this guy, veteran owned, veteran operated, making a veteran built product.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Shannon.
And I'm Mike Hyatt.
And this is Bourbon Road. And today, Mike, it's another Craft Distillery Monday. Man, it seems like lately we've been having a few big boy bottles on, or at least higher price bottles on.
We have been. You gotta showcase everything, I think, right? We've said that before, from the bottom of the shelf to the top of the shelf.
But I do believe that this expression that we're reviewing today is in fact a craft expression, because this distillery hasn't had something like this before. And this is them stepping outside that box we always talking about, right?
Yeah, I still think this is a craft distillery. To me, it's tiny. They're not putting that much out. When you go there, it is small. So that's kind of nice. So let's go ahead and talk about the distillery, Jim. Who do we got on today?
Well, we've got Willet on, and it's been a minute since we've had a bottle of Willet on. If I think back, it's probably been better than a year. But it's high time we have another one on. And today, Mike, which one do we have?
Well, Jim, I'm about to turn 49 years old. And our good friend Adam Boothby handed me a bottle of the Willet Wheated. Now, this is a Kentucky straight bourbon. It is 8 years old, 108 proof. Man.
This is a purple top.
It is a purple top. MSRP on this is $259. Adam, man, I love you. I love you to death. Number 4 char on the barrel, 65% corn, 20% wheat, and 15% malted barley.
Now, Willet adds this new expression, this wheated bourbon expression, to their growing list of expressions they have. They have the Willet Pot Still Reserve. Well, the ever popular Willet Family Estate bottles that everybody kind of is after. Also, the Johnny Drum, the old Bardstown, which is available in a bottle and bond. Noah's Mill, Rowan's Creek, Pure Kentucky, and then Kentucky Vintage. You see that on the shelf sometime, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got pretty much everything up there. And there's the dreaded pot still bottle, right? It's a beautiful bottle.
That's right. That Willet Pot Still Reserve. Beautiful, shaped like a big pot still, right?
Yeah. And I've heard negative reviews on it, and I think some people jump on that bandwagon, and then I've heard positive reviews and blinds when people are blinded by it, and then they're like, man, this is really good. And then they see that, like, I can't believe that it's that good. That's that blind we always talk about, Jim, that it's the equalizer, isn't it?
Absolutely. Now, Willet's one of those brands whose profile is very unique and very identifiable. So if you're looking to add that first brand to your list of brands that you can identify with your eyes closed, I would say start with Willet. They have a very unique nose, a very unique palate across their profiles. And It's great stuff. It's one of the reasons it's so popular is because it is different than anything else you can get.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, Willet's been around for a minute, Jim, and listeners, since 1936. Now, this is a private family owned and operated company out there. They're also known as the Kentucky Bourbon Distillers. Now, those other brands that Jim mentioned, that's those brands right there with the Willet, but they are the Willet Distillery just outside of Bardstown, Jim, right? You duck down that hill off of Heaven Hill there.
Yeah, you come around the big Heaven Hill curve there and you go down the hill, and if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it. It's like that drive up to the left up into the woods, right?
It's kind of like my driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So over the years, they've been bottling whiskeys from 2 years all the way up to 28 years old, Jim. I know you've sipped on some of that 28-year-old stuff before, right?
I have been lucky enough to try it. It's wonderful. It definitely will change your day, make a better day for you.
And one of the things they're known for, they've been called before, is the big daddy of bourbon and rye bottling. Means those purple tops out there are some magical bottles.
Absolutely. And we've had a couple. Well, we've had one in particular that we've had on the show. We've got another one, Mike, in our library that we haven't opened yet. But you know what? Maybe there'll be a day soon. Maybe there'll be a roadie bar at an event soon where we'll include a purple top Willet. How's that?
Yeah, that would be pretty magical. So since the 80s, they've been under that KBD brand kind of. There's only a handful of people working there. They got a restaurant. We just had a roadie that went there. Drew actually went there with his wife, Heather, and ate. They said they really enjoyed it, but I'm ready to get this whiskey. We already talked about Willet enough, Jim. You know me. I'm dying to taste this thing.
I'm surprised you hadn't already. So, but let's hit it up, Mike. Cheers.
All right. Cheers.
Love that nose. A little bit of alcohol on it, though.
Yeah, that 108 proof's coming through. I'm getting a little waft of chocolate there, Jim. Maybe some cinnamon toast crunch.
Yeah, it's definitely got those spicy notes that you're accustomed to with a Willet bourbon. It's not a great deal softer just because it's a wheat. I mean, it's still very present on those spices. The chocolate is there, Mike. I mean, it is, but it's really, for me, it's kind of like a chocolate covered like blueberry or cranberry or something. Kind of one of those little dark chocolate dried fruits that you get.
Now, I'm going to tell you what I'm really getting on this and stick it in my mind. I don't know why it is, but if you ever went to the mall and you're walking past, every entrance door seems like they have one of those perfume counters. And there's like women have sprayed like 15 or 20 different type of perfumes on themselves. And that aroma is just wafting in the air. That's what I'm getting on this. It's like all these. Floral. Yeah. Very, very floral.
Yeah. It's definitely a very floral whiskey. But I have to say, though, that the alcohol on it, or the ethanol, that ethanol on the nose, you need to don't stick your nose deep into the glass and take a big whiff. It's the 108 is definitely ever present.
Yeah, that little bit of vanilla there with an 8-year-old wheat, you would get some oak, not a whole lot still. I still think that's kind of a young age for a wheater. Wheats, listeners, take a little bit longer in the barrel to get that nice oaky nose on it, that nice oaky palate. So, well, Jim, what do you think, man? Let's sip on this sucker.
Let's taste it.
Cheers.
Cheers. Wow, Mike, it's so it does have that proof is there. I mean, you can tell it's a good high proof whiskey, 108 proof, balanced and smooth, and it doesn't it's not aggressive on the palate at all.
My God, it's so yummy. Let me tell you, listeners, this is certified, approved by the Weedy King of Kentucky right here. It has a little bit of spice I know that Jim's going to love right here on this whiskey. But to me, it has everything that cinnamon toast crunch with some milk poured over it has. That is it in a glass, Jim. I mean, it is just beautiful. If you put some sprinkles of chocolate in there, we're golden.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little fruity too for me up front. I mean, it's not super soft on the front of the palate like you might expect a wheated whiskey to be, but it is definitely softer than a traditional Willet expression. So,
have you ever had those Special K's, Jim, that has the dried strawberries in there?
I have Special K. Yeah, it's called strawberry Special K or something like that. Yeah,
yeah. I'm getting a little bit of that dried strawberry in here.
Yeah, it's really good. Dried fruits, I think, is something that we're both talking about here. So I'm going to say that's a prominent note. Whether it's strawberries, blueberries, or cranberries, I'm not sure, but it does still have a little bit of that chocolate on the palate.
Super creamy is staying with me. Now, if Willet would offer this not in a purple top and it was the same thing, that not at a higher price, Jim, man, could this compete with that Fay 02 right here?
I mean, they're so very different from each other. It's really good. So let's talk a little bit about the price. So this is a $259 bottle, you said?
Yeah, it's a chunk of change.
It is. And that's basically due to the rarity and how difficult it is to get your hands on one.
So what's that, like $30 a year? I'm trying to do quick math here. I got my phone out. I have to do some math here. That's $32 a year, Jim.
Yeah. It's but definitely a great birthday present. You did very well on that.
He didn't go empty-handed back for his birthday, so it was like we exchanged some bottles. But for a purple top, I'm going to pay that, especially for this was the first release of this. Just I can't say nothing bad about this bottle. The price, I understand that. Everybody's going to say $259. Folks, if you see one of those purple tops out there and it's around that price, search it out, see if it's worth that. But if that's the MSRP on it, I would snag it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, they're rye bourbon purple tops at the 8-year range. The estates at about 8 years are going to be about the same. If you can get your hands on them, you're gonna pay a couple $100 for them. That's pretty typical of the finer Willet whiskeys. If you like to taste that Willet profile, but you don't want to get into the expensive ones, certainly any of the ones I mentioned earlier in the show, the old Bardstown or the Pure Kentucky or the Kentucky Vintage, Rowan's Creek, they're all good expressions you can try. Oh, Johnny Drum too. They're all expressions that will give you that profile from Willet without the big ticket price, right?
Yeah, that you could still get the Willet, but not that big ticket price. The other thing about this bottle right here, Jim, is it kind of goes against everything else. Willet does kind of go against the grain sometimes, and they put it in a black bottle.
Yeah, and I've seen a few of those. Right, we've seen a few of those.
Yeah. And most people get a lot of hate on that. What are you trying to hide in that bottle? I'm telling you, ain't trying to hide anything in this. It's got a great color to it. I'd call that golden honey. The bottle's just sexy. The way the gold lettering on it, the purple top, it's like royalty almost.
Yeah, I mean, this spice is all barrel. No doubt about it. It's amazing the amount of spice that they're able to withdraw from that barrel. It's magical as far as I'm concerned. And this expression in particular, it's a great day for the big chief because he gets to have his Willet, and he gets to have his Willet as a wheated. So I mean, that's pretty awesome.
How many distilleries have we been in, Jim, and they don't have no wheat? And I'm like, where's your wheat at? That's what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for your wheat. That's, we'll get to that and we'll be good. Well, listeners, what we're talking here, if you forgot, is the Willet wheated Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. It's 108 proof, $259 MSRP, number 4 char American oak, 65% corn, 20% wheat, 15% malted barley. Not bad percentage on that wheat either, Jim.
Yeah. Well, what was the percentage on the wheat again?
20%.
20%. That's a good amount, no doubt.
And that 15% malted barley. I wonder about that.
I love when that malted barley goes north of 10% because it definitely has a big impact on the flavor profile.
it does have a nice Kentucky hug on it. Got a little burn there going down. I like it, Jim. I think it has a long finish on this. For me, if I saw a bottle, do you think I would pass it up?
No, I think you'd buy another one. I think you'd buy
if I saw two of them, I'd buy you one, Jim.
Oh, I appreciate that. For me, for the proof, 108, it's all right there. So there's no proof being hidden in this one. You definitely taste the proof. But on a positive note, it's very smooth. It's very balanced. And you get a very nice pour out of it and a nice experience. So the spice is amazingly present for a wheated whiskey. And sometimes we see that. And in this one in particular, I'm just surprised where it all comes from. But we know where it comes from, right? It comes from the barrel.
From that barrel, yeah.
I'm going to join on this one and tell you, Mike, that I think this is a long finish as well. It definitely has a bit of a hug. The Kentucky hug on this one is bigger than normal, I would say.
Is that Wildcat fighting you?
It's a Wildcat, yeah. Beautiful bottle, beautiful expression, pretty high ticket price. There'll be some listeners out there that are like, no way, Jose, I'm not going to do it. Well, guess what? Go to a bar and buy a pour of it. I think that's the best way to answer that problem, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't say show up a roadie bar and drink this because listeners, I always say I'll share my bourbon. I might share it if you come over to my house, but it probably will never leave this inside of this house right here. And I'm going to have to slap my hand every time I reach for it, Jim. I'll just slap my hand, like, get away from it. Get there, Big Chief.
All right. Well, I think our listeners have the gist of this review. I think they all know that we're both for this one. Big thumbs up. We're not excited about the price, but Willets are Willets, and that's what you got to pay to get one.
Yes, sir.
I definitely say it's a recommend from us if it meets your pocketbook.
Well, Jim, where can people find us on social media?
Well, you can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can find us on our private Facebook group, the Bourbon Roadies. You can also find us on TikTok nowadays. We've actually been doing a lot on TikTok, and it's starting to pick up speed a little bit. So if you don't have a TikTok account, or you've been resisting getting a TikTok account, maybe now's the time, because you know what? You can't resist forever. It's definitely there, and it's definitely taken over the bourbon world. So make sure you stop into the Bourbon Roadies, our private Facebook group. Bourbon Roadies are our special friends, our special fans, our listeners who like to pay attention to what we have going on. That group is for sharing of pictures of whiskey, of stories, birthdays, deaths, anniversaries, marriages, everything you have going on in your life. Feel free to post it in there. We don't allow any rudeness. Mike, what do we do if they're not nice people in there?
Well, we got to hit the road, Jack, and don't come back. That's how we roll. If you drink from that very bottom of the shelf, like that 10 high or something like that, to the very top of the shelf, like this Willet wheated, we want you to just come in there and be nice and enjoy whiskey. That's what we're about. We don't do politics. We don't do religion. We do whiskey. We do lots of bourbon whiskey. So come in there and join us and have some fun. You might just find out about some great events that we're going to be at.
Well, we do 2 shows every single week. We do this short episode called our Craft Distillery Monday episode, like today's, where we're reviewing this Willet Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey that's has a wheated mash bill, 8 years old. Every Wednesday, we do a full-length episode. We'll have a guest on. We'll deep dive a subject. We'll drink several expressions. We'll spend a full hour. We'll give you time to drive to work and home. 2 shows every single week. What do they need to do not to miss one?
So listeners, you need to scroll on up the top of that app, hit that subscribe sign, that check sign, that plus sign, whatever you got to do to make sure that app lets you know, hey, these 2 jokers have a show coming out today and you need to listen. Next thing you need to do is scroll on down, hit that 5-star review, leave us some comments. We really love those, but you know what's going to happen if you don't. The big bad booty daddy of bourbon's going to come to your house dragging some of this Willet wheated Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey with him. We'll drink it all night long. By the end of the night, I guarantee you're going to give us that 5-star review in those comments. But seriously, those comments, those reviews, they open up doors to distilleries. They get great whiskey in our hand, get great guests on our show. We'd really appreciate it.
Well, Mike and I are very approachable. We'd love for you to reach out if you've got an idea for a show, if you've got an idea for a bottle that we ought to review. We'd love to hear from you. You can always go to our website. We've got a contact us webpage on thebourbonroad.com. Fill it out. We'll get back to you. You can also send us an email. I'm Jim at thebourbonroad.com. He's Mike at thebourbonroad.com. But like we always say, probably the best way, hit up our DMs on Instagram. I'm JShannon63.
I'm Big Bourbon Chief.
We'll see you down
the Bourbon Road.